Does the 5-hour day seem completely idealistic and unrealistic to you in a knowledge-based work environment?
Why isn't it possible? It's just not.
This week, I want to introduce you to Lasse, who made it work very successfully in his organisation pre-COVID. And we're going to explore what made it work, what the wins were, what some of the downsides were, and what we take from this exploration. But before we do that, let's just turn our minds to the productivity crisis. And what we know is that productivity growth has stalled since the introduction of modern working practices, as days have got longer and we've had more interruptions. So does it in fact make sense to experiment with shortening working days? We've looked at the 4-day week separately and we'll come back to it, and thinking about how we confine work more rather than letting it morph into every area of our lives. And let us also, when we think about this, remember the research from 2016, which asked people in offices in the UK how they spent their time when they were in work. Well, half an hour a day on average per person was spent looking for another job.
Nice.
Less than 3 hours was spent focused on the task in hand. So in fact, while you might instinctively dismiss what you're hearing, it could be that we're significantly increasing productivity if we can get people in for 5 hours to really focus, given that so much research says we can only focus 4 to 5 hours on complex tasks a day. Let's hear what Lasse has to say.
The first thing we did was having a very close look on all the processes we had and all the tools we use, like what happens in the office, what are distractions in the office or in the workday. And that led to better processes and better understanding of what people need to do high quality work. What's good about the 5-hour workday was people had more time to get their life back. They really had time to organize their personal lives. They had time for their kids. They had time to be very mindful with eating or with shopping. They didn't need pizza deliveries or convenience food. They had time to learn new things for the first time in years, do some sports, learn a language or an instrument, and suddenly they have great ideas that benefits the company and their projects. And what they also get is being thankful to have this kind of opportunity in the job. So they might attract new, and the talents they have will be very likely to stay and be happier for their job. People are willing to work way more than employees think they would like to work. People are good, and all the things we learned about business 20 years ago, they are not valid anymore. I think not for everyone, but it might be the right step into a direction they didn't expect.
For the full interview with Lasse, explaining how they made it work, what systems they put in place, and what ultimately went wrong and what they're trying next, we're going to put a link into the newsletter next week, so make sure that you're signed up if you're interested. The question it leaves me with is whether, as we all lean in towards flexible and agile, whether we are losing some of the benefits of systems and rules and constraints. And that is quite a surprise from someone who really doesn't love rules and processes generally. I would love your thoughts about this. Is it, in fact, that if we had more structure in place, we could get more done and be happier? Please tell me your thoughts. Next week, we're going to be looking at more practical thoughts on productivity. See you here.